What's up, y'all? It's so hard to say goodbye to Abbott Elementary. I'm just playing, you guys. Welcome to AAB TV. I am your girl, Audrey B, and my channel is better known as Authentically Audrey B TV. Welcome, everybody. If you are new here, hey. We do this every week, y'all. So let's get into it. We're gonna recap my favorite show, your favorite show, America's favorite show, Abbott Elementary season finale. Let's get into the video. All right, y'all. So it is the annual end of the year field trip, right? And some of the 8th graders wanted to go to the aquarium, and it was a back and forth, but everybody had to deal with the fact that the museum was chosen this time. And so we open with Ava returning in her on her throne as principal, and she's talking about all this stuff that she's gonna do, all the stuff that she's not gonna do anymore, what she's throwing out the window. And so the crew, thinking that she's in the office making the announcement, is like basically like joking and mocking and teasing her, and then she's standing at the door like, and they're like, oh my gosh. And basically, you all know she recorded it, right? And so then we see everybody move to the gym, and they are getting their class divided up so that they can get on the buses and head to the Please Touch Museum, something like that. Touch Museum, whatever it is. Basically like an interactive children's museum, right? And so Barb is pumping her class up, and they're like, yeah, let's do this. And then Melissa, she's pumping her class up, and they're excited. And then here comes Jacob trying to amp up his class, and because he has 8th graders, this is their last year in and they are on their way to high school. They are not having it. They are not happy. They are not okay with the fact that they have to go to this museum, because to them it's babies. It's babyish, right? And so he's just like, come on, you guys, you'll love it. It's not for babies. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And then he tries to get Mr. Johnson to agree with him, but because he's going to be the chaperone. And Mr. Johnson comes up and he's just like, nah, it's for babies. I'm only going to be the chaperone because y'all couldn't find nobody. And we also learned that Greg's dad is going to be the chaperone. And he's going to basically meet them there or whatever. And him and Janine are talking about how Janine is excited to meet his dad. And she wants to make a good impression, and he's like, don't worry about making a good impression, be yourself. He's very militant. He's not fun. I don't even know why he wants to even go to a museum. He never liked places like this when I was a kid. He's just straight and narrow. And if you aren't familiar with his dad, he is, like I said, very militant. And he got, raised Greg to be very like by the book, very follow this way, look this way, think this way, act this way. And Janine is just like kind of looking at him like, but I want to make a good impression, so why you keep on making it seem like we're not going to get along, we're not going to hit it off? But she didn't really say that, but some of the comments that he was making had her looking sideways or whatever. So he was like, just be yourself, don't worry about it. I mean, he's hard to impress anyway, you know how my dad is. And so they just part ways or whatever. And once they get there, like I said, Greg meets up with his dad, and again, it's very cut and dry, not a lot of emotion. Like he said, his dad is not an emotional person. He's hard, he's rough around the edges, he does not play, he's no nonsense. And so he always greets him like that, standing straight, sir, yes sir, all of that stuff. And so because he's thinking that he's not gonna really jig with his girlfriend Janine or whatever, he is kind of like I wouldn't say nervous, but kind of like apprehensive as to how his dad is gonna act towards her, because she's very quirky, she's very funny, she's very silly, and like I said, his dad has always been one that ain't for that. And so once Janine comes up, his dad asks, before that, he asks Greg, like, hey, where is your girl? And so she pops up, and she has on a suit jacket that was in Greg's classroom, and he's like, is that my jacket? And then he comes up, and she's very straight, narrow, by the book, no nonsense, and he's looking at her like, girl, what are you doing? And then the dad is looking like, oh, okay, I could deal with her, no nonsense. And she's trying to, the kids are running up to her, excited, happy, and she's like shutting them down basically because she doesn't want, again, the dad to have this bad impression of her. So she pretends to be like him, for lack of better words, and it works for a little while, right? It works for a little while, but in the meantime, Greg is just looking at her like, why are you doing this? Like, you don't have to do it. He's not really saying anything, but he's letting it go on. And eventually Janine ends up snapping out of it, but we'll get back to that in a little while. Also, I did mention that we see O'Shine, and he's gonna also be a chaperone on the field trip, and he's there with his boo Ava, right? And he pops in on her in the office before they leave, and he has a gift for her, and she is like overly excited because, you know, she loves gifts. She loves somebody that's gonna spend a coin, right? And she opens it, and she's like, great. And he's like, I thought of you when I seen these. I hope you like it. And so instead, and it's a pair of earrings. And to me, the earrings were cute. It just wasn't what I normally would see Ava wearing. And she basically made it seem like, or said that it wasn't her style, but she didn't say that to him right away. She just pretended like she liked them. She put them on, but when she got to the museum and stuff, she was hiding them from everybody, and he noticed, but he didn't say anything. And then he also noticed that when she had a conversation with Barb about, you know, the earrings, because Barb thought she had a nervous tick, she's like, I don't like them. It's not my style. I don't want to hurt his feelings. I don't want to seem ungrateful. And Barb is like, you know, having those difficult conversations when you're in a relationship with somebody, it just breeds, you know, communication, healthy communication. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to, you know, hurt his feelings like that. And to me, when she said that, that was pretty much the basis of this entire episode. Because just the fact that everybody had different things going on, but the most important part was that everybody was finally able to have these conversations instead of dragging things on and not talking about it and not wanting to hurt or offend anybody. Like, that was just basically like all throughout this episode. And y'all know I'll be looking deep into stuff, even though it's Abbott Elementary and it's funny and it's comedy and it's silly. I still be looking for these little hidden gems, and I feel like that's really what it was about. So, like I said, everybody is having a good time except the 8th graders, right? And the tour guide of the museum is talking to them like they're little babies, like how I do our kids in our classroom, talking about, go to the potty, put on your listening ears. I was like, oh gosh, I hear this stuff in my sleep. And so they're just like, I don't want to be here. They're just dragging it on. And they're also just not in the mood. And Jacob is trying to, like I said, amp them up and get them excited, going to different exhibits and stuff. All the other kids are having fun, right? And while the other kids are having fun, Janine wants to jump in there and be goofy with them or whatever, but she sees that Greg's dad is watching, and Greg is watching from afar, both of them, right? And he's over here like, again, side-eyeing Janine, and she's trying to engage with the kids, but because she knows that his dad is there, again, like I said, she turns off her own personality and puts on his personality. And it's just throwing everything off, right? And this is the point where I said she ends up going to this make-believe tree, and she's talking through the little tunnel to this other little boy, and the dad is kind of looking like, what is she gonna do? She doesn't basically want the dad to feel like she's some ditzy type of person, I guess. And so she starts ends up making it seem like ends up making it seem like he like she just didn't want to engage with the kids. And then she was like, you know what, never mind, we're not gonna do this. I'm going to actually have fun. So she took the suit jacket off, and she just started being herself again, right? And so the dad was kind of like, and then Greg gets to smiling and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, the dad starts acting goofy. He's making impressions of a squirrel. He's talking in different voices. And then that just like does something to Greg, because like I said, he was not raised that way. His dad was never silly. He was never comical. He didn't play that. And he was just kind of like, this is weird seeing him do this type of stuff, and then playing with kids. And Janine noticed, and she was like, you seem a little off. And he's just like, I said, I never seen my dad like this. It would have been nice to see him, you know, let loose a little bit, relax a little bit. And she's like, you know, just have that conversation with him. And he's like, oh, he wouldn't even he wouldn't want to have a conversation with me. Like, I just feel like it's too late. But it's nice that he's able to do that for the kids today. And she's just like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, but you can tell that he's thinking about it. And that's why I said communication goes a long way. And speaking of difficult conversations, when Ava is asked to take a group picture by the tour guide with the students, he compliments her earrings and then says, oh, did a kid make them for you? So then that made her feel bad about the earrings again. So she tries to hide them, and then she ends up snatching them off, and she doesn't realize that O'Shawn is like sitting up higher and can see everything going on, and he noticed. And so when he was able to get her off to themselves, he was just like, you know, I saw what you did with the earrings. And she's like, look, you know, after having this conversation with Barb about difficult conversations and telling him the truth and being honest, she's like, I didn't want to seem ungrateful. I didn't want to make it seem like I wasn't appreciative of what you did for me, because, you know, I want you to spend money on me, but this is not my style. And he was like, well, you should have said something. He was like, because I really wanted to give you like some earrings, you know, that were custom. And also, mind you, she said that she didn't want him to spend money on her that he really didn't have, but he took it upon himself to want to do something nice because he knows that she likes nice things. But he should have went with his first mind and got the first pair of earrings, which they did not show, but like I said, he told her that they were custom for her. And she was like, you should have went with this. And don't think that I don't want you to spend money on me. I just want you to you know, think of things that I would like, and not these gaudy, you know, big earrings. And like I said, they were not ugly to me. They just didn't go with, you know, that outfit. It's something I would wear with a certain outfit. I don't know about you, but I thought they were cute. But like I said, for Ava's style on the show, that was not hot. And so after they had that conversation, a little heart to heart, he grabs her hand and they just look at each other, and she's like, I think I can keep you long term. He said, I think I can keep you long term. I said, I know that's right. And the kids are still not having a ball, right? The 8th graders are still not having a ball. And the tour guide noticed, and he's like, the theater is empty. Why don't y'all come and make up a play? And you guys can have a play about your teachers. And if y'all want to come and follow me. And they did. And they all band together and they made cue cards, which Barb and Jacob and Melissa thought that they were going to have a script because they went in there to take a load off, right? And because they was tired of walking around with the other kids. And so they figured out that the kids were not going to have a script. They were going to read like cue cards like they do like on Saturday Night Live. And basically they thought that the kids were going to act like them. And they was like, no, you guys are going to act like each other. And they did such a good job impersonating each other. Like, just for example, like Melissa was Jacob. Jacob was Barb, and Barb was Melissa. Janine was Greg, and Greg was Janine. It was so, and Mr. Johnson was himself, because they told him nobody can be you but you, right? And they had them reading off basically these cue cards, basically about how to save Abbott Elementary. Threw in some stuff that they knew was going on, like the teachers calling Eddie a robot, just the district wanting to shut the school down, and all the other stuff. And it ended up being like, you know, Abbott was saved, the day was saved, and all this other stuff. And they had the rest of the kids and teachers in there in the theater watching it. And like I said, that showed basically that the kids really do pay attention, right? And even though they, you know, give the teachers a hard time, like they even said on the cue cards, they love them, and they know that their teachers love them and will do anything for them. And that just touched everybody's heart. And before Janine and Greg and his dad came in there, his dad was like looking in on some exhibit or whatever, and Greg walks up to him, and he does have that difficult conversation as well, which I know if you are like me, you sometimes dread having difficult conversations because you don't want people to be offended. You don't know how people are gonna react to it. But I'm also very much big on having conversations, because just to clear the air, right? And just to get things off your chest. And my dad is no longer alive, but I had the opportunity to have a difficult conversation with him, I think maybe like a year or two prior to him passing away. And it was something that I held on to for a long time, and the weight that it lifted up off of me. So I kind of could empathize with Greg's character, because parents don't always realize that the way that they raise their kids affects them in their adulthood, and little things that turn into big things turn into personality traits, and it's hard for children to like let them go. But his dad, in his own way, he apologized. Greg, in his own way, told him that it was refreshing to see him let loose and be silly, because, you know, he didn't raise them like that. And he even admitted that he was hard on him, and it was different than how he raised them. And that he also thought that Janine was a good fit for Greg, because Greg is very rigid sometimes, and very hard to relax and just just be and let go. And he said that Janine reminded him of his mom, and that just made Greg's day. And he was like, what? And he was like, your mom used to always tell me I need to relax, and I never listened to her. And he was like, but I know that women like her and women like Janine are a good fit for men like us. And I said, where's the wedding bells? Where's the church? Somebody get the dress and the tux. Let's go. Right? And so that just made his day. And I was just like, yes, like Barb's, what she told Ava, like in the episode about having different conversations, I was like, that is so true. Like, it does something to a person's spirit, especially when the other person is receptive and can look at the other person's perspective. And I think that also ties into the fact that the kids, the 8th graders, wanted the teachers to act like each other to show, I guess, how they look to other people, because they even said that this could start, some drama. It could be messy because people could take offense, but they ended up, being all right with it. And then at the end of the day, everybody had a great time, and that's all that matters, right? Right. And so towards the end of the episode, the teachers all had like their little confessionals, just talking about how, when the kids first come in kindergarten and they go through all the way to 8th grade, how they view them, how they hope to help them grow, how they hope to help them reach certain levels of development and how they hope to pour into them, and that's their job, but also that they pour into them as well, and how it all just is like a full circle moment. And no matter what, there'll always be their babies, there'll always be with them as they go along. And I was like, that is the heart of teaching. And I love that, because even now, just thinking about the kids that I help teach, that are going to be going off to different schools and next year for kindergarten, or even just in the same school that I'm in, and just not seeing them every day, just hoping and making sure that a little bit of me and a little bit of them just stays with me and stays with them, because they're our babies. And Abbott is special, and they're a family, and that's how you want, your children's and teacher and relationship to be. And then as they're talking, they're all riding on this carousel. So at the very end, everybody is sick, they're dizzy, their stomach's upset, except for Janine, because she got so much energy. She's up there eating some hot dogs with cream cheese, making everybody feel nauseous even more. And then that's the end of the episode. I loved it. I really did. It was a good, refreshing, loving way to end this season. It was an awesome season. So bravo to the writers, the producers, the directors, the creator, the actors. It was a great season, and I'm so excited to see how season 5 is gonna be. And I'm excited to go back and watch other seasons on Hulu and on demand, because like I told y'all before, I don't watch nothing else. And I love this show. This has been an awesome season. My favorite episode of the entire season, hands down, is going to be the karaoke forever. It's always going to be the karaoke episode. So y'all let me know how y'all felt about this season. Like I said, I'll be looking deep into shows, trying to find the underlying message, and I feel like it was about just communication. Y'all let me know some of your favorite moments of the season finale last night. Let me know some of your favorite scenes or episodes of season 4. And it's been real, y'all. It has been so real. Some days I did not want to get on here because I was so tired, or I had forgot, or things just happened to where my phone kept cutting off and stuff, and I'll just be like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. But I pushed through 20-some episodes. I'm proud of myself. Thank you guys for watching. This is the most views that I've gotten since I started, and I am very, very grateful. As I always say, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I do. I want to do more. I enjoy it. Just to be able to talk to y'all. But I'm gonna let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. Happy Easter, Resurrection Sunday. I will see you guys for season 5. Until then, peace. Thank y'all for watching.